Alright, so after I finished doing the preview for the midweek games, it's time to do the review of these 4 games that happened on Halloween. And while we definitely had some thrills in terms of these 4 games, probably the most spookiest thing coming out of these Halloween games was the referee. Because there were definitely some controversial calls in this one that we will definitely get to, including the one in this game that, yeah, there was a very controversial call at the end that could really change the playoff picture in the Eastern Conference. But we start off with the first game of Halloween, which is the lunchtime kickoff between Minnesota versus Sporting KC. And in the end, in a game where the Loons have to win if they want to head into decision day with still a shot of making the playoffs, they did exactly that, which is kind of a little bit of a surprise because anytime this season when Minnesota needs to get a win, they usually don't do so. But, they were able to do it in this game, though it definitely did not start out well for the Loons because just 7 minutes into this game, Kyrie Shelton would score from Russo and Kinda to give Sporting KC a 1-0 lead. And, not only the fact that that was a shocking set-piece defending from the Loons from the corner, but it should have never been a corner in the first place because, there was just some lazy play there from Metanier, basically let the ball in and kind of got pickpocket on the byline, and the Loons had to kind of defend them and kind of have to put that one behind for a corner. But then on the corner set piece defending, I think they just got completely caught off guard in terms of that training ground set piece that Sporting KC was setting up, because Shelton was just completely unmarked in the box there, and he easily slots it home to give Sporting KC a 1-0 lead just 7 minutes in the game. And you can definitely sense that inside Allianz Field there were definitely some frustration in that it feels like, yeah, here we go again. Is this another game where when the Loons needs to get a win and they just get off to a good, or they get off to a bad start, and it looks like it's not going to happen. But to the credit of the Loons, they did respond well, though I really think that they kind of lacked that final third, which has been evident throughout this season, where there's just so many times where I find it very frustrated with this team. Of the fact that they do a good job in terms of the build-up, but once you get to the final third, that's when the problem begins with this team. And that's also not to mention the fact that they also are terrible in terms of their finishing. But eventually did kind of improve, and in the 15th minute, Ludd had a chance to tie the game up, but he puts it wide on the half volley. And then in the 20th minute, Minnesota ties it. And it's Fragapane, the ones that ties the game up for Minnesota, though I think this was one that Melia should have done better. And I think throughout this broadcast, they mentioned the fact that the sun was definitely an issue, especially for those SKC defender and Tim Melia having a lot of trouble with that. I think even John Champion kind of mentioned the fact that, why don't they just wear a hat like it is in the 1970s. Well, the reason why goalkeeper don't want to wear a hat now is because it's kind of a little out of place, John. And I guess that maybe they could do that, but again, I can understand why goalkeepers decide to not wear a hat even on a sunny day, because it feels like it's kind of out of date, and kind of just feels weird if you decide to do so. But in this sequence, I think the Sun definitely had something to play part of it, because even though this ball wasn't coming into the box, this one that I think Melia just kind of read it late, and he did kind of get a hand onto that one, but just could not quite pair it out. But I think the other thing that I would say that Melia should have done better is that one kind of hit it straight toward him. And for a goalkeeper, the quality of Tim Melia, you would expect him to make that save. But obviously, I'm not complaining because Minnesota was able to tie the game up. Reynoso then puts it high from long range on the volley. I thought Reynoso had a good game in this one. Then in the 34th minute, Melia absolutely robbed Dibasi from point blank range. Like, Dibasi basically had a free header in the front post, and somehow Tim Melia was able to deny him there. But there was no doubt the Loons was pressing for the lead, and they had a chance to do so in the 36th minute, as a penalty was given to Minnesota after Elie brought down Reynoso in the box, which Reynoso was able to put away the penalty. Although, in that penalty kick that Reynoso took, about a second, my heart really just sunk when he decided to try the Panenka. Because, in a game like this, which is literally the game of the season for Minnesota, I did not expect Reynoso decide to try Panenka. Like the audacity to try to go for Panenka in such a crucial game. Like if you get it right, then that just tells you that he definitely have that ice cold vein in his or he has that ice cold instinct in his vein. But if you get it wrong, just like what Brenner did last week for FC Cincinnati, then yeah, there's going to be a lot of criticism. But fortunately for Reynoso, he got that one right, and the Loons were up 2-1 in this. Hunu then blazed it high from long range before he puts it high from long range just 4 minutes later. Hunu kind of had a very Adrian Hunu kind of game where he was trying very hard to score a goal. And I think throughout this broadcast, I think at one point, I think was it Taylor Twellman mentioned the fact that Hunu might be pressing a little too hard. And, you know, usually I don't agree a lot of thing with Taylor Twellman, but that's one of the ones that I do agree. I think Adrian Hunu might be just pressing a little bit too hard, and just, you know, I think that's also a lot due to the fact that, you know, there's a lot of pressure of him want to score goals and really live up to his transfer fee, and right now it just doesn't seem like that. It seems like he's just trying a little bit too hard. Where maybe if he doesn't try like too hard, maybe he can of course find a way to put the ball into the back of net. But we do head to halftime with Minnesota leading 2-1 against Sporting KC. Now in the second half, Gasper puts it high from close range, the 49th minute. It was a promising start for the Loons, but one thing that I was hoping this team can do is that they can get that third goal and kill this game off, and that's been kind of a problem for this team because, you know, any time when this team are able to be leading, there's been times where I've seen this team unable to get that third goal and eventually let their opponents in the game, and eventually it comes back to haunt them. Fortunately, this one it didn't beat, but I kind of had a sense that 2-1 was not enough against this really good Sporting KC attack. Though the chances did kind of start to slow down as neither team really kind of get anything going on the attack, which kind of favored Minnesota because time was definitely on their side. Melia then denied Hunu on the header in the 65th minute before Trapp hit an absolute rifle of a shot that unfortunately was blocked by his own teammate. I think it was Dibasi, the one that got in the way of it. And then on the follow-up, Alonso basically puts that one high. Then Keemna hits one straight to Tyler Miller in the 68th minute. And that was really the first chance that Sporting KC had going all the way back in the 7 minutes in this game. And it just kind of shows you how locked down this Loons back line was in this one. Frangipani, I thought he should have had his second goal here in the 76th minute as he missed high from 5 yards out. Then Melia was able to deny Leb from the near post in the 80th minute. And then in the 85th minute, Dia basically puts an absolute reckless challenge on Reynoso, but only gets a yellow card out of that. And remember how in the beginning I said the most spookiest thing in this game, out of these games, are the referee because of some of the controversial calls? This was one of them. I mean, this clearly should have been a red card. You can clearly see this was a leg breaker challenge that Amadou Dia was putting on Reynoso, and actually Reynoso had to be subbed off and kind of limped off there, which, you know, that's definitely a huge concern, and that I really hope that he's gonna be okay, because there's no way we can afford to lose Reynoso as we head into the final game of the season. But the fact that was only a yellow card is just absolutely criminal. Like, and the fact that they didn't even go to VAR to check this makes it even more criminal, because I think 9 out of 10 times that has to be a red card. And I guess maybe VAR decided not give Sporting KC the red card, knowing the fact that, you know, yes, it's a reckless challenge, but do you want to be going up a man? And you know how Minnesota this season struggle with going up a man and always find a way to lose even when they're going up a man. I mean, there's kind of that option too, but, you know, the reality is that should have been a red card, and I thought Dia really got away with one there. But in the end, despite the fact that Sporting KC tried to push for a late equalizer, they weren't able to do so. And in the end, Minnesota was able to hold on to a 2-1 lead over SKC, and the shots in this one, 15 shots compared to 4 that Sporting KC had, 5 shots on goal compared to 2 that Sporting KC had, 7 shots off target compared to 2 that Sporting KC had, 3 shots out of block compared to none that Sporting KC had, and possession-wise, 54% possession compared to 46% possession that Sporting KC has in this game. And like I said in the preview, I thought this SKC team looked really tired coming into this one, and it's not going to get any easier for them, because they still have 2 more games in a span of 7 days, and this is where Peter Vermees, you know, he's got some big decision to make, whether or not if he is going to maybe rest his guys. But knowing the fact that if they do drop points against Austin and Seattle does win against the Galaxy later tonight, all of a sudden Seattle retakes that top spot in the Western Conference. But for the Loons, this is a big win. And although it's a win that still hasn't guaranteed themselves making the playoffs, at least now they can put pressure on a lot of these teams that's going to be playing in the middle of the week. And now I'm just really hoping that at least we're finally going to get some help, because this season we haven't got a lot of help from other teams. But let's just hope this is going to be one of those times before we face that crucial game against the Galaxy on decision day. But now moving on, in terms of the next match, is going to be Houston and the Colorado Rapids. And the Rapids kind of make some history in this game, because with this win, they actually have now tied their franchise record for the most points they ever had in the regular season. And also they are able to stay alive in terms of fighting for that top spot with all 3 points in this game on the road against the Dynamo. Now early on in the 5th minute, Lundqvist's shot is stabbed off the line by Wilson, as I thought the Dynamo kind of controlled possession early and was the better team. Yarbrough denied Memo Rodriguez from 14 yards out before Carrasquilla hit one straight to Yarbrough in the 26th minute. And the Dynamo, I thought they played well early and was looking for that opening goal, but at the same time I was also wondering, well, yes, despite the fact that they play well, but when you're playing against a superior team and you don't put away your chances, is it going to come back to haunt the Dynamo? And it definitely seems like that was going to be the case in the 33rd minute if it wasn't for Nelson denying Estevez, as I thought that was Colorado's first chance. Then Jack Price drives one that goes high from long range, and Colorado started slowly getting back into this game, though as soon as I start that, the Dynamo almost went up 1-0 as Yarbrough had to deny Dorsey from long range. And then Lassiter went through on goal, and for Ari Lassiter, he definitely want to have this one back, because he had a big opportunity to give Houston the lead at halftime, but he missed wide there, and we had to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. So we go into the second half, and in the second half, Trusty hits one straight to Nelson in the 55th minute, but then in the 58th minute, Colorado got the breakthrough. And it's Baji, the one that scored from Nomley to give the Rapids a 1-0 lead. And not only the fact that the Dynamo blew it in terms of playing well, but then they let in a goal. But the broadcast for the Dynamo, yeah, they blew it too, because they literally just decided to show a player down for the Rapids. And then next thing you know, the ball was in the back of the net, and they didn't even show it. So they kind of got a little bit Fox Sports there. The Dynamo regional broadcast decided to show something that is completely irrelevant and missed the goal there. But nevertheless, the Rapids, of course, were up 1-0 in this one. Bonet Garcia puts it wide from 17 yards out in the 66th minute. I'm kind of surprised there wasn't really a lot of ovation for Bonet Garcia, considering this could be his final home game at not BBVA Compass Stadium. They actually recently just changed the name to PNC Stadium. But yeah, that could have been the final home game for him as a Dynamo player, and I'm kind of surprised Dynamo fans didn't really give him a good standing ovation, considering he's been with that club for a very long time and kind of is a club legend for that team. But in the 71st minute, there was a huge shout for a penalty that was not given for Houston, as the Dynamo was trying to push for a late equalizer, but they weren't able to do so, as in the end, the Rapids were able to hang on to win 1-0 in this one. And the shots in this one, 10 shots for the 12 that the Dynamo has. Both teams had 6 shots on goal, 4 shots off target for the 2 that the Rapids had. Both teams had 2 shots that was blocked, and possession-wise, 60% possession compared to 40% possession that the Colorado Rapids has in this game. And like I said, the Rapids, they're still alive in terms of getting that top spot in the Western Conference. And albeit, they still need a lot of help from both Seattle and Sporting KC to lose, so that they can head into that final day in a situation where we could potentially see a three-way battle for that top spot in the Western Conference, which that would be probably the first time that has happened in a while, because I don't remember the last time we have headed into the decision day where there's 3 teams that can still get the top spot in the Western Conference. So yeah, let's see how the resort is going to go, and we'll see whether or not if the Rapids heading into the final day still have something to play for that top seed in the West. But now moving on, in terms of the next match, is the game that I think everybody is talking about, but not for the right reason. And that, of course, is the controversial call right at the end. And we'll definitely get to that, and in some way, Orlando City fans that is going to be very angry coming out of this game. They kind of have rights to do so. But early on, Galese denied Zimmerman on the header before Orlando actually takes the lead just 17 minutes in. And it's Daryl DK scoring from Mueller and Nani to give Orlando City a 1-0 lead. Nashville tried to quickly respond just 7 minutes later, but Leao put a long-range shot that goes straight to Galese. Then Antonio Carlos had a header that goes wide before Urso unfortunately struck the post there. And then on the follow-up, Moss, he definitely should have put this one away, as that ball was literally right there for him to capitalize, but he wasn't able to stab that one in. Then 3 minutes later, Mukhtar blazed it high from long range in the 36th minute before Sapon missed high from 20 yards out in the second minute of stoppage time. So Nashville was trying to push to get that late equalizer, but Orlando does leads at 1-0 heading into the second half. Though in the second half, as I mentioned, with Nashville pushing for that late equalizer late in the first half, they would get the equalizer early in the second half. And it's Hani Mukhtar who continued his impressive season and almost having an MVP caliber of a level. I mean, I know a lot of people talk about the MVP race this season, and that I don't think a lot of people have included Hani Mukhtar into it, because he has just been a star for this team. And this is a guy that last season when he came to Nashville, we did not see this coming with the way that he was really struggling with this team. But now the fact that he's healthy and he's able to produce the way that Nashville was hoping for, it's unsurprising how much he has really helped this team to be one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. But he, of course, here, as I said, scored from Leao and Sapon to make it 1-0, or to tie the game up at 1 apiece. So the front three of Nashville getting involved on the goal scoring and assist there. Though Mueller had a chance to give Orlando City the lead back, but he puts it high from long range. There was a lot of chances for Orlando City in this game that they was just kind of trying to take pot shot in front of Joe Willis. And when you decide to take those pot shot, I think Nashville will be happy to do so, because most of those basically wasn't even toward goal, and that's kind of the thing that has to frustrate Orlando City coming out of this game. But in the 58th minute, Leao did hit one straight to Galese before just 10 minutes later he had another chance, but he puts it wide from 20 yards out. And Nashville, they kind of started to look like they were trying to take the lead for the first time, though that sense quickly evaporate, because in the 72nd minute, Mueller blazed it high from long range before Urso puts it high from 12 yards out. And then Alke Lubak, who came off the bench, he puts it wide after just a bad giveaway from Orlando in the 78th minute. But there was just kind of sense that both teams was chasing to try to get this next crucial goal. Nani did try a long-range effort that goes high in the 84th minute. We had a very good feel-good story moment happen in the 85th minute when Alexandre Pato, who has been out for Orlando for a very long time, ever since the beginning of the season, he come off the bench for the first time since April, and he was actually involved in that very controversial call at the end, which, by the way, that's actually where we're going to get to, where in the 4th minute of stoppage time, Pereira thought that he scored the winning goal for Orlando City, and the fans inside was definitely celebrating, knowing that they of course got all 3 points. But then they go to VAR to check to see whether or not, like originally when they checked the goal, I thought maybe they were checking for offside, make sure Andres Pereira wasn't in an offside position. But what they were really checking was the fact that whether or not if DK apparently fouled Johnston in the box. And obviously, I didn't know that because, since this game is on Twitter, and since Twitter commentator, whenever they have to talk about a VAR situation, they're kind of a little bit clueless. So I tend to ignore whatever they say and just kind of find it out myself what exactly they're checking, and then eventually I kind of figure out that they were checking whether or not if DK fouled Johnston in the box. Now, originally when I get it in real time, I thought DK looked like he fouled Johnston in the box. But the more I look at it, and believe it or not, I have seen a lot of replay, because this is everywhere on both the Reddit page and also on the Twitter account for the league. And this one, the more I look at it, I just don't see the foul. And the only thing I can maybe think it's a foul is that DK, his left arm did kind of hook Johnston there, and maybe he brought him down the box. But even then, I don't think that looked really clear that was the case. And my original instinct was that it looked like both players just kind of got tangled in the box as the ball goes into the back of net. And when that happened, I don't think that should be a foul, because we've seen tangles where that in the box that is not not call. And then the more that I also look at it, the second conclusion I thought Alistair Johnston fouled DK in this situation because you can clearly see that maybe DK lost his balance wasn't because of him slipping, but he kind of felt that contact from Johnston, and that's the reason why that both of these guys kind of went down in the box. But like I said, I think the first reason is probably the most clear, where I just thought both of these guys just kind of got tango each other. They're in the box, and again, I don't think that should be a foul. And I think it's also very important to note that the original decision was that the goal was given. And I've talked about this many times, and I hate the fact that I have to always talk about this again. When you have a play that you need to overturn it, it has to be clear and obvious. And the fact that this doesn't feel like it's clear and obvious, it just kind of frustrates me, and it just kind of is the reason why I'm always very frustrated at times with some of the usage of VAR in this league. Like, don't get me wrong, VAR, I think in my opinion, I kind of have a neutral opinion where, I think VAR at times it can work out very well, but then there are at times where it just doesn't work out at all, and it's just, in some way, it's very inconsistent. And of course, you can make the argument that, well, yes, you're still going to have that human error aspect, even when they use VAR to look at it. But at the end of the day, when you have this kind of crucial play where, this is, I even said, this was bound to happen, where with how inconsistent VAR is being used in MLS, that there's going to be a crucial play down the stretch, whether in the playoffs or down the regular season, that it can really change the playoff picture. And the fact that it happened, I shouldn't be surprised, but at the same time, I'm left very frustrated to see that happen. And I'm pretty sure Orlando City fans are going to be very frustrated after this game too, because with this draw, they still haven't clinched a playoff position. I mean, I guess the only good news is at least they're still in a very good position to clinch the playoffs, and that they, of course, if they can get a win in the next game, they of course would clinch the playoff position. But the other thing that I think they'll also be frustrated is that this call could potentially cost their chance of hosting a home game in the playoffs. And if Orlando City is going to be eliminated in the playoffs, I have a feeling Orlando City fans are going to come back to this game, and they're going to say, this is the call that we basically got robbed. The fact that we weren't able to play at home, and we miss out a big chance to move on to the next round because of that. But either way, the shots in this one, 14 shots apiece for both of these teams. 2 shots on goal per the 7 that Nashville has. 9 shots off target per the 5 that Nashville has. 3 shots that is blocked per the 2 that Nashville has. And possession-wise, 55% possession compared to 45% possession that Nashville has. And despite the fact that Nashville clearly got left off the hook in this one, the bad news for them is that they still have been overtaken once again in second position, because moving on into the next game between the Union versus FC Cincinnati, and see, I knew the Union was going to get a win. I knew I wasn't going to just jinx Union fans and say that egregious thing that I should never have said of how a team is guaranteed of getting a win, even though we know that's not how it works in MLS. In the end, they were able to easily cruise to a 2-0 win against FC Cincinnati, and you could argue they should have had more in this game if their finishing was just a little bit better. But in the 7th minute, Vermeer denied McGinn from long range. I thought Jack McGlynn had a really good game in this one, and he's another one of those Union youngsters coming out of the academy that I am very excited to see how he's going to develop with this team. But then in the 11th minute, the Union would take the opening goal, and it's Beisel, the one that scored from Bedoya to give the Union a 1-0 lead. That is Olivier Beisel's first career goal. By the way, on the league website, they said that Gastek was actually credited with the goal, which I think that's clearly wrong, because I don't think... I mean, yes, when that ball was striked in, I think maybe the league think that Gastek kind of took a little bit touch and redirect that one, but the more I look at it, I don't see how he redirect that one. And that, again, even though I know the league is going to credit Gastek with the goal and that they didn't credit Beisel to score, I'm just going to say that because I don't think there was no way that one actually touched off of Gastek, even though he was near the vicinity. So he scored his first career MLS goal there to give the Union a 1-0 lead. Though Gastek looked like he was trying to get on the score sheet not long after, and he probably should have done, because he missed an absolutely the big opportunity on a free header from 4 yards out. But there was no doubt the Union was pushing for more goals. Gastet then had another chance to hit one straight to Vermeer before Bedoya flicked one straight to Vermeer in the 28th minute. Then Glesnes puts it into the stands from about 4 yards out, and that's another opportunity that, you know, Jacob Glesnes, even as a defender, he would definitely want to have that one back. But it was pretty much all Union in this game, and they would just put in wave after wave of pressure. McGlynn had a chance to score in the 37th minute, but he puts it just wide from 10 yards out. Before in the 39th minute, Yaya Kubo almost stole a goal for Cincinnati and almost scored against the run of play with a rare opportunity that just puts it wide from 10 yards out. And I also was going to write that, you know, that's a warning shot for the Union, because, you know, despite the fact that they have by far been the better team in this game, still only 1-0. And you can ask Atlanta United that when you dominate a game and you don't get that second goal, yeah, you're going to eventually gonna be made to pay in the second half. Because in the second half, I thought Cincinnati, they kind of got that message that yes, even though they were by far second best, or they are second best in this game, they're still in this one, and maybe they can play spoiler and steal a goal. Barrial had a chance there in the 51st minute, but he missed a sitter from 10 yards out. This is when the Union realized that, yeah, we got to get the second goal so we don't give Cincinnati hope in this one, and they do. It's Paxton Aronson scoring from McGlynn and Gastak to give the Union a 2-0 lead. That's got to satisfy Jim Curtin, knowing the fact, too, of his youngster getting on the score sheet and also on the assist chart there. But 2 minutes later, Shabilko missed an absolute sitter from 4 yards out, and between him and Gastak, both of them are gonna be thinking themselves, how in the world did they not score a goal in this one? Because they had so many prime opportunity, and this was definitely one of them. He had another prime opportunity in the 57th minute, but he puts it wide in the near post before Vermeer had to make a save in the 59th minute, denying Gastak from 6 yards out. Then McGinn tagged a volley from 19 yards out that looked really good, but unfortunately it went off target. Then on the other end, Barrio hits one straight to Andre Blake. You know, that was really the only thing that Blake needed to do throughout this game, because he wasn't really that busy with the way that the ball was kind of always on the other end, and the Union was just kind of putting wave after wave of pressure. Martinez then puts it into the stands from a long-range effort before Gastak tried one more time to score his goal in this game, but he puts it over the bar from 19 yards out. But in the end, Union able to win 2-0 in this game against Cincinnati to move up to second place again. Shots in this one, 20 shots compared to 7 that Cincinnati has, 7 shots on goal compared to 2 that Cincinnati has, 10 shots off target compared to 3 that Cincinnati has, 3 shots out of block compared to 2 that Cincinnati has, and possession-wise, 51% possession compared to 49% possession that FC Cincinnati has in this game. But yeah, there you have it. That is pretty much it of the review of all 4 of these games that happened on Halloween. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of all 4 of these games, and be sure to let me know in the comments below talking about that controversial call in the game against Orlando versus Nashville. Do you think that was rightfully disallowed, or do you think the referee and VAR clearly got it wrong in this sequence, like what I think it is? But let me know in the comments below, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.